Well, hello everybody. It's December 28th, 2022. It's been the end of a long weekend. We go from Christmas now into the new year. Thanks for staying with us here at WESN. I'm Andy Johnson. This is the program AM Prime. We're going to get going moments from now. Let's just tell you what's happening in this edition of the program. And as we come to the end of this year, 2022, we're talking with Mr. Revanti Laksing, president of an organization called ICNTT. That's a charitable organization. His and other groups said they had difficulty this year collecting stuff for people who are poor and out of means. They said that in a lot of cases, charitable organizations such as theirs had a difficulty getting assistance to people who have difficult times. We will talk with him about what that was and what it meant as we go forward in Trinidad and Tobago here. We're also talking about the fact that, well, we're close to 600 murders. What's the situation with crime in the country? What are the measures to push back on this? We're talking with strategic security consultant and organizational transformation expert, Commander Gavin Hira, on that. Spike in the crime, in the murder rate as we push up against 600. We tell you around the region a couple of times on this edition of the program, as we always do, but right now we're talking with Mr. Clarence Mendoza. He's the president of the Concerned Parents Movement, and the issue is about sex education in schools, continuing trying to fight back against the abuse of children in our schools. Let's just read this little bit as we put together stuff from the newspapers from which this story came. The debate on implementing sexual education as a subject in the classroom has been reignited after a teacher and a security guard were charged with sexually abusing 2 children at a private school. Last Wednesday, the TTPS revealed that a 46-year-old female private school teacher and a 35-year-old male security guard had appeared in court charged with the sexual penetration of 2 girls. One of them was 12, and trafficking a minor for sexual exploitation arising out of an incident at a private secondary school in East Trinidad. Both were denied bail when they appeared in the Tunapuna Magistrates Court, and this sparked debate in some quarters on how parents and the Ministry of Education could protect children better from such predators. But it seems as if teachers and parents of students are not on the same page on this issue. The Concerned Parents Movement of Trinidad and Tobago is of the view that sex education will help prepare children to identify if they are not being groomed or abused. Mr. Mendoza is with us to discuss that. Good to see you, sir.
Good to have you, Andy. Your listening viewers, season greetings to everyone out there. Going into 2023, we look for a more powerful year from our country and our parents.
All right, thanks for coming. What do you mean when you say that? You look forward for a more powerful year from the country and the parents. Let's deal with the parents, per se.
We have been down this road from 2020 down the road. 2019, we'd have had conversation on sexuality and putting our sex education into the classroom. And we ourselves as concerned parents have concern about putting sex education in the classroom. But it's how we bring it out, how it's rolled out by the ministry and other technocrats. This is what we are talking about. And a lot of our denominational boards, they do have issues, and we quite understandable know this. But it's how we roll it out, and I think the Concerned Parents Movement going into 2023, we'll be looking closely at how it should be rolled out. We have put together a few points that we want to bring forward in terms of awareness of our predators being out there and so forth. So I think sexual education is not just penetration or the pregnancy part of it, but the preventative maintenance, so to speak.
All right. Tell us a little bit about the formation of this organization and the decision to form an organization called the Concerned Parents Movement, and how representative is it across the country, across the various spectra in the education system. You have private schools, you have state-owned schools, you have religious, denominational schools, you have government schools. How do you spread? How are you spread across such a spectrum?
Well, Andy, the Concerned Parent Movement would have started in 2020 as a WhatsApp group of parents where we were struggling to get answers for our students who were holding CAPE and CXC. And we had a lot of challenges with our parents and students, sleepless nights to get the results and get the correct results. So coming out of that, we would have formed the Concerned Parent Movement to take it forward in dealing with the lives of our family. Not just education, but in all aspects of the family. And here we are today. We are young, but we are budding, and we speak out on all fronts. And this is what we are doing here now. And reason why the members are saying going into 2023, when we come out from our sabbatical, we will be pressing forward to have discussions with various ministries, the youth affairs, in terms of getting more answers and getting our parents and them more aware of what's taking place. Our parents are younger and younger now, and they themselves don't even know, compared to our grandparents and so forth, where we had the backing. We don't have that again.
Yeah. How sort of widespread is the organization across the spectrum of schools in the country by district and so on?
Well, then again, the concerned parents movement does not move through district by district like how the NPTA or other organizations that's dealing with schools. We are about what we are about. We are about working with the family in all districts throughout Trinidad and Tobago, whether it's education, whether it's unemployment, illiteracy, as the case may be. We are willing to help in those matters. So that's where we are in terms of education and districts. We deal with all districts. We bar none. From St. Patrick's to southeastern regions, we have members, and we continue to dialogue and grow the membership as we go into 2020.
Yeah, what separates the concerned parents movement from, say, the National Parent-Teacher Association?
Well, Andy, you quite rightly know that I'm former first vice president of the National Parent-Teachers Association. I've been with them for over 20 years, and I continue to work with PTAs in various schools. Not to say that we are that much different, but what the NPTA can do and what the concerned parents can do is totally two different things, although it may fall under the same heading at times. We deal with education, we deal with crimes in our school, and we are speaking out, and we want to get solutions for our students in fighting among themselves. We also look at teachers' absenteeism within the system. We look at school repairs in the system. We also look at HDC housing for our parents and schooling. We looking at the way it's set up, where our children have to be transported miles upon miles from the community to go to a school. And we are looking at really speaking out on that transportation for children, the beach area, the citrus area. And, it's a lot that the NPTA don't do, that the concerned parents can pick up the slack.
And okay, so in your experience, being involved with the NPTA, why do you think there are some of those constraints as to what that organization can do? Because people talk about how unity is strength, and if you have parents and teachers working together, it's probably, some people may have found that it's better than to have a group of parents operating by themselves.
Well, we are a group of parents, and again, during my tenure at the NPTA, we'd have put a lot of cards on the table, which we never used, never brought forward. And we say it's best we take those cards separate and deal with it as an entity all by itself. We continue to work with teachers. Our teachers are asking us to add teachers to our name. And we're saying teachers are parents also. So we are dealing with parents, all parents. Whether you're a police officer, whether you're a teacher, a principal, we are dealing with all parents across the spectrum.
Yeah, and you find that maybe this was part of the decision to form this separate organization, that you probably could be more effective in what you're seeking to do if it were, as it is, a body of parents alone, as opposed to parents and teachers, because teachers have sometimes to be guided by what the employers want and what the employers don't want.
That's correct, Andy. And there's quite a few teachers who is in the teaching service, but not with the teaching union. And we're quite aware of that also. They are also parents, and moving concerned parents movement from one level to another, it depends on our teachers, our parents, the whole of society, our community, and how we do business.
Yeah. All right, so let's come to the central issue then about the question of sex education in school. As you say, and that has been the case, and that has been a major, I would say, sort of constraint on what can be done. This question about what constitutes sex education and what should be taught in the schools and what not. And some people say that, the denominational organizations in the school system, and I would say I'm a Catholic, but I would say that the sense you get is that religious bodies such as the Catholic Church have a vastly different ideas as to what that should be from others, and that may have been a constraint on what parents and other concerned people believe should be happening, correct?
Correct. And the the denominational board, I myself are born and bred Catholic. We look at sex education totally different. And if you ask a parent about sex education, first thing they will think about, come to mind, is sex.
Yes.
And parents movement, we are not saying the first thing come to mind is sex. We are saying now here going into 2023, we must look closely at our students, our schools, our community, and make it clear that we are not saying the act of sex is what's supposed to be taught at this point in time in our school system. We are saying the mechanism that will put the issue to rest in terms of our predators. And we keep forgetting that predators are out there and they are advancing their system, and we are just dormant. We have used the counter-trafficking unit to a very great deal to where they would have brought the challenges and what to look for to our parents. In November, we had a congregation of over 300 parents that came out to the forum and listened and waiting for 2023 to continue with the counter-trafficking unit so they can get more awareness. The youth arm of the concerned parents, they are now putting together so they can tell us some of this to the school system. So we are waiting to have a discussion with the youth arm, the Ministry of Education, Ministry of Youth Affairs, in terms of how we can get this better off to our students. They must be aware of predators, and we are not giving them that knowledge. I listened to our president, our new president of Twitter. He would have made it clear that it should be something from the home and the parents, and I quite agree. But if your parents are underage and your parents are young and younger, you don't have time for that. You don't have time for that. You see, and this is why we need to meet them where they are, get our students where they are, with primary school, and let them know that the man who is selling the snow cone or the lolly or the pulori or the case for me, male or female, be aware of certain traits that may come to you. The taxi drivers, the PS drivers, we have heard in the past where PS drivers has been grooming young student girls who are not aware of what's taking place. The mother would have made it clear. She would have intercepted the phone call and took it to the police. So these are the things we must let our students know what to look for. In terms of sex education, I think this is where we need to start.
Yeah, and what is the relationship between your organization and the NPTA as it exists now, and then the Ministry of Education? And who gets to call the shot? And how do you all work out an arrangement whereby some of what you all are talking about and advocating for must get on the agenda?
Well, we have been writing to the Ministry of Education to have meetings with them in 2022. And I know in 2023 we're not going to stop. Whatever we come up with, we'll send it to them. Whether they have a meeting with us or not, we will send it to the ministry. We will make sure the necessary ministries, the Prime Minister's office, is understandable of what we are trying to do and trying to achieve. We see the crime rate where it's at today, and if we don't come together as one and listen to each and every one with their solutions, then we are wasting time. It's just a talk shop, and I cannot be a talk shop in this day and age. Coming into 2017, 18, 19 day, being the advisor to the Ministry of Education and the Tech Work Department, we'll work closely in bringing solutions to certain avenues within the school system. And we continue, whether it's the concerned parents or whoever, we are there for solutions. We are not here to fight on anything or looking for money or wealth. We work freely.
Yeah, and what is your position on, let's say, the relationship between the government, whichever government is there, and the denominational school boards? You get a sense that sometimes the people in authority tend to want to listen more, to pay greater attention, or be essence, as the people say, to such organizations than to others, such as yours?
And I'm not afraid to bite my tongue here. This is a political arena we dance in. And if you dance to the tune, you get paid. If you don't dance to the tune, you don't get paid. You don't get here. You're aware of this. And we dance to no one tune. We are for the family, we are for the parents, we are for the teachers, and everyone here in Trinidad and Tobago, including the politicians, who is also parents. But at the end of the day, the government gives us no subvention. We haven't asked for any subvention. I know other entities get subventions, so they speak a certain tongue, or else they'll lose their subvention. Concerned parents doesn't care about that. We care about speaking out for the rights of our children. That's what we're here for. We're not speaking out for $1. We're speaking out for the rights of all our children, our citizens of Trinidad. We're not a political party, or we are not affiliated to any political party.
Yeah, so that is a sort of critical statement of your mission, that you won't seek that kind of support from the government, because that probably will hold you back from taking some of the decisions you have to.
We are not saying we won't seek, you know. We are saying not because we are being donated a few $100,000 that we'll say what you want us to say. And in society here in Trinidad and Tobago, we have reached to that stage. We have reached a critical stage to where every entity, if you are not politically affiliated, you are put behind the 8 ball. I don't bite my tongue about it. I've been in the political arena. I've danced in the political arena, both the PNM, both the Independent Liberal Party. I've been there. And I'm making it clear. Whether you are an entity or NGO and you are getting a subvention, does not mean you cannot speak out for the children. You must be able to come out there and say, whether you get pong on your head or pong on your toe, or you step on a few toes, the child is always right. And we look at the United Nations, the act for the children's rights. We continue to look at it. It hasn't changed, but we want to change the Concord Act. And I say in many circles, why are we trying to disturb the Concord Act? We look at our denominational schools and we see that they are more in control of their schools than our government schools. Nobody wants to hear that. But I said, go back to the old times and let the denominational boards handle all schools. You don't want to hear that.
Yeah, because the issue of the Concordat has been around for a couple of decades at least, and so that debate continues, and those people who feel that is the real issue, that is the problem, and other people say
it's not the problem. It's not the problem. And again, I say, Andy, if we look at how our denominational schools or denominational boards handle our schools, we'll see that the minimum crime and dropout rate from denominational schools is bare minimum. It's our government schools that has challenges and issues. Carpichima West, Pleasantville East, Malabar. I mean, principals work hard in these areas to keep these schools up and functioning. It's failing. Yeah. Because the public, the parents are not aware of why certain schools is in a certain area, or why a school is called a magnet school, or why are you zoning? Why not zone the teachers? Where you zone the students? You bus them way out to the other side of the country, but yet there's no bus for them. There's no transportation for them. And here's where the predators take advantage. We're looking at one thing, it's tunnel vision. We're just looking on down the road, you know, but we are not looking at the wider spectrum of where the predators are using the social media, the transportation system, maxi taxis. It's a whole lot. It's not just one thing to say, let's have sex education in the classroom. It's the awareness is what we need to teach our children going forward.
Yeah, and that's the question of awareness. How do you respond to people who would say, well, what does knowing about sex education have to do with students facing inappropriate approaches by adults, such as in this case? How does sex and sexual awareness be a sort of shield against that?
And in 2015 to 2017, my wife and I would have went on a training, not for us, but for primary school students who is going into secondary schools. My wife was one of the members from National Family Services, and we got National Family Services to follow us through on this. And this was the awareness that parents didn't know that their own child knew about sexual education more than they did. when they sat in the classroom, mother and son or father as the case may be, and to hear their child know more and looking at them and saying, oh, where you know this from? This was back in 2015, 16. And here we are today, 2022, going into 23, and we are still talking this talk about sex education in the classroom. Being aware of your surroundings and your challenges as a child is very important when it comes to sex education. It's not the mantle of no condoms in the school and teaching about condoms and preventative of getting pregnancy and so forth. We are not talking about that when we talk about sex education. We are talking about getting our children prepared for the 2023, 24, 25. This is what we need to get them prepared for. From now on, we cannot keep waiting. We must do it now. We must have our children aware. If the parents are doing it at home, fine. But all parents are not aware of the challenges out there. That's why we are saying the counter-trafficking unit of Trinidad and Tobago has done a fabulous job in bringing parents aware of what to look for. So we want to take that into the school. Whether it is 3 days a week seminars, maybe an hour, 15 minutes, by maybe the same counter-trafficking units, to work with our students. Sex awareness, and we talk about sex awareness, we talk about preventative maintenance to be put in place through the school system, through the home system, within the community. So our children will be aware when they are traveling that route between school and home, when they are home with whatever other relative, what to look for. You see, this is what we need to train our children going for. They need to have that mechanism in their bag.
All right, the effect of your advocacy on this issue in this instance, what do you expect that you think that the Ministry of Education should call you all in and sit down and resume, if not begin, discussions around this?
Yes, I think the Ministry of Education should really sit with us, have that one-on-one discussion on what we have. We can give them our paper, let them know that this is where we're looking at. We are not looking at sex and abortions and so forth. We have all this going on in our schools now, Andy. We have sex in the classroom, it's not being talked about. We have rape in the schools, we're not being talked about. Abuse, all type of sexual acts going on within the school system that never before was seen or heard of. It's happening. So where is the preventative? And when we talk about predators, we're not talking about teachers and security guards and so forth. You know, we are talking about our students also. Our male and female students are also predators, and they work for predators too. So while we sit here and think about sex education and want to think about it as a taboo, we must be serious about it because it's happening in the classroom. They are making videos. They are selling their videos online. And this is the thing that we sit back here and say, oh no, it's not happening to my child. But your child friends, who they are associated with, they may not have a plan for it. But this is what's happening. We have our young girls going to school without underwear, this sort of stuff. No underwear. What's really going on? But then when you go through the gate, the security cannot check you and say, well, let me see if you have your underwear on. But this is what's happening in our school system.
Yeah.
You're afraid to talk about it. You don't want to talk about it. But I'm saying again, the denominational schools may have their little challenges, but it's our government schools that is the biggest problem in our country.
In the
government
education
schools.
system.
Yeah.
And that has sort of ripple effects across the society in different ways.
That's correct.
Yeah.
That's correct. So here we have our private schools now having challenges, but they always had challenges because each private school operates in a different manner. Does not have one ruling for private schools like the denominational boards have a conquer that. The private schools don't have that. You know? So it's a lot to look at, but for the concerned parent movement, we are looking at the preventative measures that can be put in place so our children will be aware of predators. That's what we are doing.
All right, Mr. Mendoza, thank you very much for talking with us. Let's see what comes out of this.
Thank you, Andy, and you have a pleasant day.
You too. Thank you very much. Clarence Mendoza, President of the Concerned Parents Movement in Trinidad and Tobago. Well, let's take a beginning of a look around the region now. So here's the story. In Grenada, rewarded for their selflessness, management and staff at Bailey's Funeral Home recognized and rewarded 2 individuals for their thoughtfulness in keeping citizens safe. We have a report on that from the GBN in St. George's.
On behalf of Bailey's Funeral Home, we present you with this token of our appreciation for all the hard work that you have done for the community of Grenada and beyond.
On behalf of Bailey's Funeral Home, we'd like to present this token to you for all your hard work you have been given to the country. Thank you.
I'm sure many of you will agree that the services provided by these two ununiformed, unappointed traffic assistants should not go unnoticed. Voluntarily and almost on a daily basis, Benedict John and Hugh Joseph assist school children in crossing the streets safely to get to the nearby schools and ensure the smooth flow of traffic coming from different directions. On Wednesday, the management and staff at Bailey's Funeral Home saw it quite fitting to reward those two individuals for their selfless service to the public. They were both presented with gift baskets that should brighten their Christmas holidays.
Here on the Carnage, about to do a presentation to two people who my staff decided that they're going to give them a token of appreciation. What is happening here is just blessings flowing from God to me, to them, to there, and it moves on to someone else. That's all that's going on here. We just want to give the Christmas joy and the Christmas cheer to these two gentlemen who stand in the sun every day, day after day, and call traffic. And we just want to let them know we appreciate what they have been doing for the community in Grenada.
Benedict John is usually positioned on the top of Cemetery Hill in St. George, an area that is blind to motorists coming from opposite directions. He has been doing this for the past 2 or more years. He said he is thankful for the gesture.
The access, the road for the concentration school, and to the work, what I have to do. They want to give me a good chance in my hand, and the work I do is good for them too.
On the other hand, Hugh Joseph, referred to as the strict warden, takes up duty during the early morning rush hour and stays throughout the day, directing traffic at the intersection of St. John's and Upper Church Streets in the capital. Today, this is what he expressed in recognition of his hard work.
You understand, it is a warm welcome to I to dedicate myself to serve the individuals, because trafficking, it helps the transaction more frequently and it prevents accident and it has one to move to and fro safely. I love coming in. Yeah, dedicated to the children. Thank you.
Both John and Joseph are grateful to members of the public who would drop them tips as they traverse daily. Funeral Director Mr. Clinton Bailey is hoping that other businesses will follow the trend in doing likewise, that of helping others.
If we can help two people in the community, we have done a lot. If every business helped two people, for the past couple of years, we've been helping other people. One has since died, and may his soul rest in peace. But this is my wonderful staff, and they were blessed, and they decided to bless two other people. So I want to congratulate the staff on a wonderful job for the year and their thought. It's a thought that counts.
Season greetings from Bailey's Funeral Home.
Bailey's Funeral Home, I wonder what happened with La Croix. That was the preeminent funeral agency in St. George's and surrounding areas. But we would take a break. When we come back, on the other side of that, Commander Gavin Hira, strategic security consultant and organizational transformation expert, the situation with murders in the country. Stay with us.
From A to Z, find it all easily. Everyone comes from far and near to the specialist hardware.
Get all you need for your interior or exterior projects, from finishing accessories to small or large tools. We're known for our range of doors, flooring, moldings, medallions, even fountain pumps and tanks. Check us out. We have what you need to get that job done.
Your list from A to Z, find it all easily. Everyone comes from far and near to the specialist hardware.
Oceans Industrial Complex, Union Road, Marbella.
Your Christmas is safe with us.
FBCU. Police Credit Union. Police Credit Union. Your Christmas is safe with us. FBCU. Police Credit Union. Police Credit Union.
Get an easy zero-interest Christmas loan at Police Credit Union today. Borrow up to $25,000 with affordable monthly payments. New members, you get up to $10,000. No interest, no installments until January. Apply online at www.policecreditunion.com. Loan subject to credit approval.
Horseland Heights has embarked, making your home a work of art.
Step into a spacious place of creative ideas for your home space. Our floor and wall tiles and natural stone is ideal for any use you need in your home. Toilet, bathroom sets and vanities lend design to your creativity, while jacuzzis and shower enclosures create the mood for dwelling on life's pleasures. Lamps and lighting fixtures add ambience and memorable pictures.
Horseland Heights has embarked, making your home a work of art.
Hostin's Industrial Complex, Union Road, Marabella.
The best laptops and tablets are at dbesttoys.com. Get a Gateway 14.1-inch Ultra Slim notebook or an HP 14-inch laptop at the best prices in TNT. Get the Fire 7 tablet for $474. You can also shop the latest Amazon Fire Sticks. Call now at 32-DBEST to order or visit us in-store at Forces Flagship Mac Bean. Shop online now at dbesttoys.com. Free delivery available throughout Trinidad and Tobago. Cash or links on delivery.
Better Value Limited has been making gift giving easier and more affordable for over 26 years. Power tools, indoor, outdoor furniture and accessories, mini appliances, designer fragrances, houseware and home decor products, and all your bridal registry items. Now in stock, our stylish loft bed and study desk combo unit for just $16.50. Better Value Limited. Call 235-3709 or visit us at Princestown or Gullview or check our Facebook page.
Take some time for yourself or spend some time with the family at Sandy Point Village Hotel. Enjoy our various studio and suite apartments, self-contained with their own kitchenettes and Wi-Fi. We also have our famous 100-foot swimming pool and our beachfront restaurant, The Steak and Lobster Grill. And our location in Crown Point puts us near the center of activity from the nylon pool to the local nightlife. Call us and make your reservations at 639-8533, 389-2378 or email us at sandypointvillagehotel@gmail.com.
Welcome back to the program. Well, on the program a couple of days before we took the break for the Christmas, we had this discussion with Mr. Dinesh Rambali. He's a member of Parliament on the opposition side. And the question was that there's the suggestion that the contention that the government is actively has been trying to suppress the number of murders in the country, somehow trying to deny the figures as to whether or not it was already 600 as we headed into the Christmas period, but there were 590-something, and the argument was that there is something mysterious about going over the 600. We don't know where we are this morning. Last time I checked, one of the issues was that the police, and we had a whole discussion about that, police are not putting into the numbers those people who were killed but can't be identified or haven't been identified to a point in time. But whatever it is, the situation is terrible, and Mr. Rambali has suggested that, well, where we were as we headed into the Christmas period, and for these few days before we get to the end of the year, just a couple of days away, whatever that is, the rate at which we are going, we're going to go past 700 in 2023. How do we stop that? To help us understand where we are, what the dynamics are for preventing that and holding back that increase. Commander Gavin Hero, he's a strategic security consultant and organizational transformation expert. Good to see you again, sir. Thanks for coming on. Thanks for your service to us in this regard.
Yeah, morning, Andy, and morning to the team in studio, and our supporting team and all of our customers who are viewing online and streaming, and season's greetings. And I say season's greeting incorporating the Christmas season just passed. Certainly. And our New Year greetings to come, yes. And in fact, it's a traumatic situation. When we start to talk the statistics and the numbers, and I think it's over 605 this morning, I stand to be corrected. Psychologically, it has an effect on the nation. it has effect on the citizens and society, and even from an international perspective, looking inwardly, it could in fact have a sort of psychological effect on everyone as to the amount of homicides that would have taken place in sweet little Trinidad and Tobago. As to how do we deal with this, continues to be a discussion in various corridors as to operationalizing some sort of effective way to challenge this or to treat with it. But many have done comparisons as to this year, that year, this month, that month. What is very, very important to understand, however, is the tool, the cause, what is being used to commit these homicides, some of them gang-related, some of them street justice, reprisals, vengeance. There are different reasons and causes, some still under investigations. Is really to understand the proliferation of arms and ammunition and small arms and ammunition and guns in countries. So to one of the key, I would think, solutions to address this issue is simultaneously to also look at the importation, illegal trade of small arms and light weapons coming into country as one of the stoppage points to clog that artery, to begin treating with it. And I'm hearing a lot of conversations outside there in the environment that there are approaches to treat with that. We recently saw what surfaced with customs and the scanners and all of that. So I'm hoping that there's some sort of robust approach that involves a sort of joint operations with all of the key agencies to address the small arms and light weapons, illegal arms trade that is coming into Trinidad and Tobago.
What do you look for when you talk about a robust approach? What should be the characteristics of that robustness?
Yeah, well, to be quite honest, I would advise in another place that we have to seriously consider a firearms or guns and ammunition interdiction unit. And I'm saying that to draw reference. We all remembered when Trinidad and Tobago was held under threat, held by our throats, when we had the kidnapping situation in Trinidad and Tobago. Every single citizen was brought into fear because of kidnappings and the rampant occurrence and reoccurrences of kidnappings. And under investigation, it was recognized that, wait a minute, this was an organized crime group that was conducting, a number of groups conducting these kidnappings, and prominent citizens and businessmen and were being held for ransom. And there was an approach by the government to involve a joint operations involving the Special Anti-Crime Unit, the Anti-Crime Unit of the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, all of the key investigative and intelligence agencies, involving, to a great extent, our foreign counterparts out of the UK. And there was a concentrated, dedicated effort to bring kidnappings to a halt. Why have I done and gone into this historic? It is because that there was a specific unit set up to treat with kidnappings, because that was the threat of the day. And I'm saying the threat of the day is the illegal guns and arms and ammunition that is coming into this country almost free for all. We have the average gang member having an AK-47 or an AR-15 in his possession. The research has shown that they consider that to be the Air Jordans of guns. Nobody wants to have a pistol or a 9mm anymore. They want to be identified with an AR-15 or an AK-47, a high-powered semi-automatic, almost military-style weapon. That's the Air Jordans of weapons. That's what the gangs want to have, to identify, to show a certain amount of power. So therefore, we have to form up that unit and to deal specific with firearms outside of the divisional investigations, outside of the police station investigations, outside of the criminal investigations departments of the stations, a unit that can concentrate on that and utilize some of the expanded authority and power of our foreign counterparts, and to bring that to some sort of control. Because as it is now, the importation of illegal arms and ammunition into the country seems almost out of control, and something that has started to show itself. And I know the authorities are paying attention, and more attention needs to be paid to that, as to tracking right back as to the commencement and to the way it started, is also the surfacing now of military ammunition on crime scenes. And that is a cause and a concern for a lot of us. How come we now have military, what I'll call military signatures of ammunition, serial numbers and military arms and not arms, sorry, but ammunition being found on crime scenes. So, that just tells you how widespread this whole issue regarding guns and ammunition and the use of homicides has come now in country.
And we are signatories to something called the Arms Trade Treaty that was negotiated at the United Nations in 2013.
Correct.
And to my understanding is that part of that involves tracking from whence these weapons are coming. To what extent we've done any work to deal with the people at the source?
Yeah, exactly. So because of some of that legislative power, we have an avenue that we can pursue that involves our foreign counterparts. And the forensic scientific investigation, for instance, of these weapons and their signatures, their footprints, their fingerprints, more or less, that leads directly as to the country of origin or where it was purchased, the money transfers, all of that takes part into a very intimate sort of meticulous investigation. And therefore, parallel to this unit that I am recommending should also be a specific forensic platform to treat with arms and ammunition specifically, and not to have that also with the crowded aspects of forensics that is being conducted on a daily basis. It should be a separate and apart to deal specific with arms and ammunition in order to expedite and a quick turnaround.
Yeah, and the other issue, it would seem that it would be easy because we know it's been established that a lot of that firepower is coming through legal ports, not as used to be thought years ago that it was because of our borders were porous and they're coming through any space they could get around the country. The information is that they've been coming through legal ports.
Yeah, well, we can't dismiss the illegal ports of entry. I mean, there's still some sort of, let's use the word contraband to cover a number of different items that are coming into country, including human beings. But yes, the legal ports of entry has continued to be a mainframe for the importation of illegal arms and ammunition into country, being hidden in washing machines. And as we have heard and seen in some of the reports, some of us have actually seen videos being circulated, although they may be dated, of Customs and Border Patrol officers in the U.S., for instance, stopping shipments that were actually coming inbound to Trinidad, inbound to Jamaica with arms and ammunition. So some reason or the other, the legal ports of entry have been breached. It's a system, and when studied intimately into all of the fine details, criminals find ways to either parallel, to mask, or to camouflage importation of illegal arms and importation of illegal weapons, movement of money under the pretense of legal trade and enterprises existing. So we have to understand that the underpinning of all of this are some of the tactics that we see in transnational organized crime. We have to understand that transnational organized crime is the platform from which illegal arms and ammunition trade is being built and fostered in this country.
And what stops us, the authorities, from getting the proper handle on these things and these mechanisms and these connections?
You see, when we sit here as citizens and we see what is taking place out there in civil streets and in the business places and the trauma of the weapons and the guns and the crime scenes with 50 shells and 60 shells being picked up by crime scene investigators, there's a fear that comes over us. And we can easily fall into the fact of hands in the air, like, what are the authorities doing? Nothing is being done. It seems like nothing is being done. We're not hearing anything. But I mean, being part of that fraternity for a great part of my career, I know that a number of stuff is being put in place behind the scenes. Some of it you can speak, some you can't speak because of the classifications and the security classifications that are involved. So I would like to say that I think that there is an effort taking place behind the scenes to put things in place, and hopefully we will start seeing or reaping some of the rewards of the hard work and what I'll call the construct of the investigations and the intelligence gathering. What we really need to see now more than ever, however, while that is taking place, is some sort of targeted approach by the authorities regarding areas that they are known to have a large guns and arms and ammunition and gang warfare existing. There need to be some efforts being thrown into that, because as it seems now to us, these people who are terrorizing neighborhoods and communities and citizens seem to have basically a free-for-all. Like, they're allowed to just conduct their business as normal and terrorize citizens. And that is not right. We need to see a pushback and a fight back by our authorities in the protection and the security of the citizens. We're not seeing that aspect of it.
I want to say that I fly no flag for the current incumbent in the Ministry of National Security, none whatsoever. But the question is, to what extent an individual has so much, well, the idea in the public's mind that it depends on who the Minister of National Security is as to whether we do well or not, as opposed to attacking these things being the result of policy positions that the government takes, that the cabinet takes in consultation with people like yourselves and the institutions that are set up to deal with crime in the country. What difference does it make? Who is the incumbent in the office?
Well, as to who is occupying the seat will depend on the who he circles himself with, or she circles himself with, as his advisors, basically his team that is going to guide and offer and deposit information contributory as to how we are going to treat with certain issues. And it's not only the homicides, it's all aspects of crime and criminality. And national security is a wide berth, as we would have seen, and involves a series of various working parts in order to put it together. But I think the approach has to be in a way where we set clearly defined objectives. What are the clearly defined objectives for the first quarter of 2023? And through that consultative approach, we set those objectives. We put timelines to those objectives. We associate a cost to the timelines for those objectives. And we put people in charge to achieve those objectives. And you are held accountable to deliver at the end of that timeline. It's utilizing a project governance approach. And it cannot just be sitting and working on policies and working on strategies and associating ourselves with stats and research, and that has to happen. That is the fuel that keeps the engine room alive. We understand that. But there are also what is known as the specific layout in a project governance approach for national security of short, medium, and long-term goals and objectives. You set those. You associate timelines to those objectives. You parallel a cost to the timeline to the objectives, and you push hard to deliver. That is what it's all about. You don't deliver, you're held accountable.
And that has not been happening. And when the Prime Minister says, well, he's not removing him, what are we missing there? What is he missing? And what is he not hearing from what the population is saying?
Well, I don't think it's an issue of who is removed and replaced, because then we will just follow a pattern of removing and replace, because we're not seeing it. I think what has to happen is we have to shift our narrative and change the approach. And if when we change the approach, there still seems to be a negative, then there has to be a decision of whether we need to replace or to remove. But as I said, we need to strengthen our approach in how we are going to deal with this. And if X was not working and Y was not working, then definitely we need to look at how can we use a different approach to achieving these objectives. And I think at this point, it's calling strongly for operationalizing. It needs to be an operation-centric sort of approach to bring things under control. It's like firefighting. If the fire is blazing, you bring the fire under control, you contain it, and then you utilize some sort of methodology to prevent it from spreading. But at the first instance, you have to fight the fire, basically. And I think there needs to be a more robust door-kicking type of approach to fight this. When you look at the ratios to the amount of gangs or gang members or criminals outside there that are terrorizing the citizens as to the percentage of our law enforcement officers combined, it's an imbalance. So therefore, with the right approach, I think it can be done. So that is something that we need to look at strongly, because mind you, Andy, in a couple of weeks, it has already started because the mindset has already been inoculated. that it's Carnival 2023, the mother of all carnivals, and we're graduating out of the Christmas and Yuletide celebrations, and we're going into the massive fetes. We are going into the large crowd gatherings. We're going into street parties, and a certain type of behavior and attitude also surfaces during that time. And apart from homicides, which is the main concern of our conversation, with the carnival is also providing that sort of security blanket to ensure we have a safe and secured carnival, because we have a lot of foreigners coming into the country. We have a lot of people away from their homes during that period, and therefore a sort of security plan should already be in motion to treat with some of the issues that is going to surface in February 2023.
Commander Gavin Heros, Strategic Security Consultant and Organizational Transformation Expert. Thank you very much for talking with us once again.
God bless. Have a safe one.
Very welcome. We will take a break. Stay with us. We're heading up to the top of the hour where there'll be news as we continue on this edition of AM Prime here on WESN.
Take your list from A to Z, find it all easily. Everyone comes from far and near to the Specialist Hardware.
Get all you need for your interior or exterior projects, from finishing accessories to small or large tools. We're known for a range of doors, flooring, moldings, medallions, even fountain pumps and tanks. Check us out. We have what you need to get that job
Take your
done.
list from A to Z, find it all easily. Everyone comes from far and near to the Specialist Hardware.
Oceans Industrial Complex, Union Road, Marbella.
Better Value Limited has been making gift giving easier and more affordable for over 26 years. Power tools, indoor, outdoor furniture and accessories, mini appliances, designer fragrances, houseware and home decor products, and all your bridal registry items. Now in stock, our stylish loft bed and study desk combo unit for just $16.50. Better Value Limited. Call 235-3709 or visit us at Princestown or Gullview, or check our Facebook page.
FanZone, your reliable, authentic supplier, has just gotten better. You can now visit our website www.fanzonett.com for your authentic wear and collectibles. The only place where you can use both your Visa debit and credit cards. Visit our website fanzonett.com to make your purchase today.
Tiles and bath, making your home a work of art.
Step into a spacious place of creative ideas for your home space. Our floor and wall tiles and natural stone is ideal for any use you need in your home. Toilet, bathroom sets and vanities lend design to your creativity, while jacuzzis and shower enclosures create the mood for dwelling on life's pleasures. Lamps and lighting fixtures add ambience and memorable pictures. Wilson's Industrial Complex, Union Road, Marabella.
Welcome back. Well, let's take you outside of our borders now in a lot of respects as we go back to the regional international scene. We start with an international piece here. Crypto guru Sam Bankman-Fried has been extradited to the United States in handcuffs where he will face trial for fraud charges. We have this report from France 24.
Arriving in the US to face a list of charges that could put him in prison for the rest of his life. A convoy most likely containing the head of the collapsed cryptocurrency exchange FTX, Sam Bankman-Fried, left an airport in the state of New York on Wednesday. Charged with stealing billions of dollars of customer assets at FTX to fill losses at a hedge fund he owned, he was arrested in the Bahamas last week. He agreed to be extradited to the United States over the weekend. The Manhattan prosecutor has also charged two of his associates, Gary Wang and Caroline Ellison, both for fraud, according to the Wall Street Journal, and criminal conspiracy for the latter.
Both Ms. Ellison and Mr. Wang have pled guilty to those charges, and they are both cooperating with the Southern District of New York. Let me reiterate a call that I made last week. If you participated in misconduct at FTX or Alameda, now is the time to get ahead of it. We are moving quickly, and our patience is not eternal.
Once considered one of the biggest names in crypto, he built a fortune of over $26 billion while championing the currency as a worthy investment. Now the 30-year-old is facing the fallout of what has been described as one of America's largest financial frauds.
All right, coming back into the region now, we go to Guyana, where the president there announced that members of the joint services will receive their 1-month tax-free bonus this year, and they could also access on-the-spot home loan approvals at a special joint services housing assistance. We have a report from News Source Guyana.
President Irfan Ali today announced that members of the joint services will be receiving their 1-month annual bonus, in addition to that 8% salary increase and the salary adjustments that were recently announced. Addressing ranks of the Guyana Defense Force today, the president said the 1-month bonus is part of his government's commitment to provide a better life for the men and women in uniform.
As you know, we had some difficult years when your 1-month annual bonus was taken away. You remember that? So in addition to all the benefits I've just spoken about, I know you don't need anything more after I told you what we're doing. But in keeping with our commitment to our men and women in uniform, again I wish to announce your 1-month bonus for this year.
The president also announced a number of measures which will see GDF ranks and all members of the joint services moving closer to home ownership. According to the president, the government has been able to negotiate with 3 commercial banks and the New Building Society for them to reduce interest rates on low-income mortgages, which will see joint services ranks benefiting. In addition, the president said members of the GDF will be signed up on a home support program before the end of the year. Commercial banks will be setting up booths at Base Camp Ayangana next Wednesday to provide on-the-spot loans for those GDF ranks who have land and are moving towards home ownership.
Further, for all of those of you who would have already been allocated your lands, not only will you benefit from this low-income interest rate, but you will benefit from the steel and cement that will be input from the government to move you to home ownership. And as we assured you, Before the end of this year, we wanted all of you who have your own land to be signed up for the banks and sign up under the Home Support Program.
President Ali has assured the ranks that his government is committed to their well-being and that of their families.
All right, and coming back into the region now, or going further afield as a matter of fact, the French billionaire Vincent Bolloré's holding company says it has finalized the sale of its African ports and logistics business for 5.7 billion euros. Here's this report.
Another day, another round of strikes in the UK. On Thursday, it was the turn of highway workers to walk out, downing tools for 4 days in London and the southeast of England. It will reduce the number of officers able to deal with collisions, as well as causing delays to reopening carriageways and motorways. It comes after a week of strike chaos in the country. Thousands of nurses walked out on Tuesday, and just the next day, unprecedented ambulance strikes, which saw thousands of paramedics and call handlers stage a walkout in an ongoing pay dispute.
We've had another poor pay award and services are increasingly under the decline across the country, across the NHS, and the government will refuse to negotiate with us over pay, the most basic of issues that we have, and it's left us no alternative but to take action against it.
The government response has been to blame the unions.
Well, it is the trade unions that are taking this strike action at a point of maximum pressure for the NHS, and in doing so are not giving an undertaking to cover all life-threatening and emergency responses at a national level.
A statement which was strongly refuted by union leaders who put the blame firmly at the government's door.
Well, look, every time the Health Secretary speaks, I've got my head in my hands. I have never seen such an abdication of leadership than I have from Rishi Sunak and the Health Secretary.
The coming days will see even more strike action across the country, with widespread rail strikes planned for Christmas Eve, expected to affect thousands trying to get home for the holidays.
All right, well, let's just tell you that that story was not about the French billionaire Mr. Bolloré. It was striking ambulance workers in England and Wales who manned picket lines on Wednesday, escalating a pay dispute between the government and a host of public sector staff after a nurses' strike. Well, we go for a break. We'll be back on the other side. Stay with us.
Make your list from A to Z, find it all easily. Everyone comes from far and near to the specialist highway.
Get all you need for your interior or exterior projects, from finishing accessories to small or large tools. We're known for a range of doors, flooring, moldings, medallions, even fountain pumps and tanks. Check us out. We have what you need to get that job
Make your
done.
list from A to Z, find it all easily. Everyone comes from far and near to the specialist highway.
Oceans Industrial Complex, Union Road, Marbella.
Your Christmas is safe with us at BCU. Police Credit Union. Police Credit Union. Your Christmas is safe with us at BCU. Police Credit Union. BCU. Police Credit Union.
Get an easy zero-interest Christmas loan at Police Credit Union today. Borrow up to $25,000 with affordable monthly payments. New members, you get up to $10,000. No interest, no installments until January. Apply online at www.policecreditunion.com. Loan subject to credit approval.
Wholesale nights, tiles and bath, making your home a work of art.
Step into a spacious place of creative ideas for your home space. Our floor and wall tiles and natural stone is ideal for any use you need in your home. Toilet, bathroom sets and vanities lend design to your creativity, while jacuzzis and shower enclosures create the mood for dwelling on life's pleasures. Lamps and lighting fixtures add ambience and memorable pictures.
Wholesale nights, tiles and bath, making your home a work of art.
Oceans Industrial Complex, Union Road, Marabella.
Better Value Limited has been making gift giving easier and more affordable for over 26 years. Power tools, indoor, outdoor furniture and accessories, mini appliances, designer fragrances, houseware and home decor products, and all your bridal registry items. Now in stock, our stylish loft bed and study desk combo unit for just $16.50. Better Value Limited. Call 235-3709 or visit us at Princestown or Gullview, or check our Facebook page.
At Belgroves, celebrating life is our commitment with integrity, compassion, and dignity for your loved ones. Belgroves Funeral Home and Crematorium, serving Trinidad and Tobago for over a century.
Take your list from A to Z, find it all easily. Everyone comes from far and near to the specialist highway.
Get all you need for your interior or exterior projects, from finishing accessories to small or large tools. We're known for our range of doors, flooring, moldings, medallions, even fountain pumps and tanks. Check us out. We have what you need to get that job done.
Take your list from A to Z, find it all easily. Everyone comes from far and near to the specialist highway.
Oceans Industrial Complex, Union Road, Marbella.
Take some time for yourself or spend some time with the family at Sandy Point Village Hotel. Enjoy our various studio and suite apartments, self-contained with their own kitchenettes and Wi-Fi. We also have our famous 100-foot swimming pool and our beachfront restaurant, The Steak and Lobster Grill. And our location in Crown Point puts us near the center of activity, from the nylon pool to the local nightlife. Call us and make your reservations at 639-8533, 389-2378, or email us at sandypointvillagehotel@gmail.com.
What's the best way to grab the attention of viewers?
Please exercise more patience. You have to be kidding me.
Doing what we do best. I'll say at the very least it's a conspiracy of laziness against the people.
Join me, Keaton Shaw.
And me, Sean Michael Small, for Talking Point.
Weekdays from 8 a.m. to 9:30 a.m.
We go in depth on the trending issues and engage the most controversial newsmakers
as we get them to account to the people for their actions.
You can't go to the government with nothing. You can't go to cabinet with an empty hand, with a wish.
I'm glad that we're having this a sober, mature discussion.
In the present situation, I expect a continuation of the chaos.
Join us for the discussion, Mondays to Fridays,
only on WASN,
the content capital.
Living in victory every day.
Inspire, motivate, encourage, hope. It's about topical issues. It's about everything that you would want to know about hope, about life. At the end, you're going to say, yes, if he can do it, I can do it too. If she can, I can do it too.
No matter what they say, living in victory every day.
Nicole Lawson Live, living in victory every day. Every Sunday at 8 p.m. and Wednesday at 4:30 p.m. on WESN.
Welcome back to the program. Well, let's take you outside of the region again as we continue the program. We're going to the story in Russia. The president there, Vladimir Putin, vowed the country would continue to develop and improve its military forces against the backdrop of the war in Ukraine.
Another day, another round of strikes in the UK. On Thursday, it was the turn of highway workers to walk out, downing tools for 4 days in London and the southeast of England. It will reduce the number of officers able to deal with collisions, as well as causing delays to reopening carriageways and motorways. It comes after a week of strike chaos in the country. Thousands of nurses walked out on Tuesday, and just the next day, unprecedented ambulance strikes, which saw thousands of paramedics and call handlers stage a walkout in an ongoing pay dispute.
We've had another poor pay award and services are increasingly under the decline across the country, across the NHS, and the government will refuse to negotiate with us over pay, the most basic of issues that we have, and it's left us no alternative but to take action against it.
The government response has been to blame the unions.
Well, it is the trade unions that are taking this strike action at a point of maximum pressure for the NHS, and in doing so are not giving an undertaking to cover all life-threatening and emergency responses at a national level.
A statement which was strongly refuted by union leaders who put the blame firmly at the government's door.
Well, look, every time the Health Secretary speaks, I've got my head in my hands. I have never seen such an abdication of leadership than I have from Rishi Sunak and the Health Secretary.
The coming days will see even more strike action across the country, with widespread rail strikes planned for Christmas Eve, expected to affect thousands trying to get home for the holidays.
It was the mainstay of Vincent Bolloré's fortune. But the French billionaire businessman's holding company has sold its African ports and logistics subsidiary. It's changing hands for a reported 5.7 billion euros. The Italian-Swiss shipping company MSC Group will now own Bolloré Africa Logistics' sprawling network across 47 African countries. The group runs port operations mainly around the Gulf of Guinea, as well as terminals and roads. In 2021, it employed over 20,000 people and made 2.2 billion euros in revenues. But costly investments and especially fierce competition from Chinese operators pushed the group to sell. Bolloré Africa Logistics was also mired by corruption scandals, notably in Guinea and Togo. Accused of having illegally funded campaigns in these countries, the group pleaded guilty in a 2021 French court case and agreed to pay a fine of 12 million euros. Despite the sale, the conglomerate intends to remain strongly involved in Africa, with its Canal Plus television group, as well as in the communication, telecoms and publishing sectors. MSC, meanwhile, is the world's largest container shipping line. Owned by the Italian Aponte family, it boasts a fleet of more than 500 ships and manages port terminals worldwide.
All right, so we come back to the region now. We have the story from TVJ, that's in Jamaica, where they're saying that residents and business owners are livid due to no water access in a place called Brownstown.
No water in Brownstown, St. Anne, days before Christmas, and residents and business people are livid. The National Water Commission says it is working to fix the problem, but how soon? Details in this report. It won't be a Merry Christmas for residents and business people in Brownstown, St. Anne. For weeks, they have been without water.
I'm very upset because this time of the year, there's no water. The school, the churches, the homes, the markets, the business place. Water is life. Because where there's no water, there's no life. We have to wash kids' clothes, we have to wash our clothes, we have to do everything, we have to cook. And then we don't know what's going on.
Councillor for the Dry Harbour Division, Carlton Ricketts, says the problem is caused by the Minard Well facility. He says the well has not been working for some time now.
And it has been like this for several months, in, out. JPS, when you call them, they said that they do not have a problem. Water Commission is telling you that they have faced problems. When you call and you have them on the line, then you get nowhere. 3 days after, the matter resort to the same situation, that there are serious problems, serious water issues.
Richard Williams, who is the regional manager at the NWC Northeast office, says he's aware of the problem. He says a new pump and motor was installed at Minard 3 months ago, but it failed. He says since then they have been having issues.
We are still investigating to see what caused the failure, but what has happened is that we are now in the process of putting in a replacement or making provisions to put in a replacement unit to supply the area in the interim. Now, the timeline for that should be about Boxing Day. We should have that new unit in and running by Boxing Day. The only drawback with that unit, it will only give us 60% of what we would normally get.
Mr. Williams says he understands the challenges faced by the residents and business people. However, he's asking for patience. In the meantime, he says the NWC is making further arrangements to continue to truck water to the affected areas.
We are, however, working with the contracted trucks that we have, and we have made some I did request to have some additional units from those that the NWC had purchased a short time ago to come into the area to assist us until the system is back up and running.
Since the interview with Mr. Williams, a maintenance team from the NWC was seen carrying out the installation of the replacement pump and motor unit.
We go to Solution now, where the country's Junior Pride organization is the latest local non-government organization to tout the importance of social interventions in beating back violent crime and narco-trafficking in that country.
Are drugs and violence intrinsically linked? According to Griselda Branford, founder and director of St. Lucia Junior Pairs Resource Institution for Drug Education, PRIDE, the answer is yes.
And if we look at the gang-related activities that go on now, most of it is drug-related.
Branford says too often children fall through the cracks and adopt deviant lifestyles, pulling them away from traditional morals. She says that St. Lucia Junior Pride acts as a safety net in keeping children away from the dangers of drug and gang-related activities.
We can't save the world, but if we can save at least 10, so therefore they know exactly. We cannot tell them don't do it, but then now we give them the tools. We try to educate them. We try to teach them or instill in them respect for persons, respect for themselves, and respect for people's lives.
Taking a microscopic look at the then and now in St. Lucia culture, Branford believes there has been a massive shift in the wrong direction, which has torn apart the social fabric of society.
I am from the old school, from the old book, okay, and I go by discipline, okay? And it has to start in the schools. Children talk about, or people talk about single-parent children. Single-parent children have been existing ever since, okay? But the discipline in the schools has gone through the door. The mode of dress of teachers, the respect children have for teachers is no more. The respect parents have for teachers is no more.
Branford once served in the hierarchy of the Royal St. Lucia Police Force as the Assistant Superintendent. She fears that institutions like the schools and law enforcement have been enfeebled in recent times, resulting in crisis of confidence in a society facing mammoth challenges. Instead of the ad nauseum, cynical airing of grievances, the former veteran cop argues that every member of society must be held accountable in effecting the positive change that they desire to bring about a brighter future for St. Lucia.
And we'll be back in a moment. Stay with us.
Join me, Sule A. Joseph, as I delve into the day-to-day psychological issues plaguing our society. We will discuss behaviors that encompass the biological influences, social pressures, and environmental factors that affect how you think, act, and feel. Sight, Thursdays at 11:30 a.m., only on WESN, Content Capital.
The issue, the continued rise in the price of flour and its impact on the cost of living in Trinidad and Tobago. How should we go about it? I want to ask you, what has been revealed to you about the state of vulnerability in the country because of this exercise and because of what we're going through? Is the government losing the war on the vaccine front?
The discussion should revolve around the common good for the greatest number of people in Trinidad and Tobago.
How do we inculcate a sense of respect and regard for people who may not be of your own political ilk or persuasion?
The communities are now being used by political opportunists. So
when the tables are turned, it's the same way. Okay, this has been 10 Questions. I'm Andy Johnson, and we'll see you next time.
FanZone, your reliable, authentic supplier, has just gotten better. You can now visit our website www.fanzonett.com for your authentic wear and collectibles. The only place where you can use both your Visa debit and credit cards. Visit our website fanzonett.com to make your purchase today.
What's the best way to grab the attention of viewers?
Please exercise more patience. You have to be kidding me.
Doing what we do best. I'll say at the very least it's a conspiracy of laziness against the people.
Join me, Keaton Shaw.
And me, Sean Michael Small, for Talking Point.
Weekdays from 8 a.m. to 9:30 a.m.
We go in depth on the trending issues and engage the most controversial newsmakers
as we get them to account to the people for their actions.
You can't go to the government with nothing. You can't go to cabinet with an empty hand, with a wish.
I'm glad that we're having this a sober, mature discussion.
In the present situation, I expect a continuation of the chaos.
Join us for the discussion, Mondays to Fridays,
only on WESN,
the content capital.
Is it politics? What is it? Is it that nobody cares about sports?
The kind of support that sport used to get in the past is no longer here.
The thing is, taking a knee doesn't mean that that's the only thing you're doing now, Andre.
Right.
Taking a knee along with other stuff.
Samantha, what are you looking forward to when you return home to Trinidad and Tobago after winning the title?
Thank you very much for speaking it into existence.
Is there no pressure on Nicholas Ball?
It makes me more motivated to work hard and to go out there and rep the white and black.
Why are we sending a team to the Winter Olympics?
There are a number of Trinbagonians who are in the diaspora and have grown up in winter sport. It's an opportunity that the Trinidad and Tobago Olympic Committee will not close the door on.
I also believe in the players that we have. Once you can motivate the players, you can get the best out of them.
Every day, we communicate through stories. Stories of ourselves, our challenges, our goals, our experiences, and our aspirations. Storytelling is an art that we have mastered. WESN Film Studios comprises a collaborative team of experts with extensive industry experience locally, regionally, and internationally. The ability of your business to successfully communicate with your preferred audience depends on the strength of the stories you tell. Your vision should be communicated in a high-quality, professional, and creative way. From concept to post-production, advertising to film, multi-camera productions, live events, streaming, and virtual conferencing, we are WESN Film Studio. Let your own unique voice be heard and your vision realized. Call us today at 628-5835 for your next production.
Welcome back to the program. As we come down to the bottom of this hour, let's just give you a sense of what's in the paper this morning. Of course, the Newsday, and on the headline, on the front page, Santa delivers a mixed bag to two struggling mothers and families, and the headline is, "In need of Xmas cheer." On the front page, we'll show you the picture in a moment. One person was killed and 2 injured in a highway accident. And there's this other story inside the paper in which veterans, they want to get a new lease on the headquarters they occupy around the Queen's Park, Savannah. That's some war veterans in Trinidad and Tobago who remain alive. But let's just show you what's on the front page of the Newsday on this day. And that's the front page. And that's the back page. And in the Newsday Tobago, the big story, democracy is about transparency. That is the continuing quarrel between the people who just over a year ago formed the new administration in Tobago. The PDP, the Progressive Development Patriots, they have fallen apart, so to say. All of the members from that party who formed the administration after that election, except one, resigned their positions from the party, the chief secretary on down. 12 or 13 of them, leaving Mr. Duke, the political leader there. Democracy is about transparency. Also on the page, the front page, a man killed by police in La Joqueta on a murder scene and a cop wounded. And the Caroni East MP is saying that January could booster the program for reactive and so on. And the Minister of Health featured there. He says upgrades are coming in the health sector. So that's the front page of the News of Tobago, and that is the back page. We want to leave you, however, with this. The St. Lucia Junior Pride Organization is the latest local government organization to tout the importance of social interventions in beating back violent crime and narco trafficking in that country.
We begin with a major development for the tourism industry. Sandals Grand Antigua at Dickinson Bay is to be expanded starting in the first quarter of 2023.
That's right, Terry. Highly placed sources tell ABS News Sandals Resorts International, SRI, is to add a new luxury accommodation there. It will create about 400 jobs for tradesmen and others during the construction phase.
Upon completion, it will create about 300 permanent jobs over time. Construction is to start within the next 3 months, with completion set for 2025.
Prime Minister Honorable Gaston Brown has welcomed the news, saying it sends a strong message of confidence to the global market regarding the country's recovery from the COVID-19 pandemic. He also lauds the planned enhancement project as very impressive and says it will help soften the impact of the pandemic.
Now, Tourism Minister, the Honorable Charles Fernandez, says this upgrade signals a boost to the country's tourism package. Minister Fernandez explains that in addition to the further enhancement of the country's tourism product, employment in the construction and entertainment industry will receive major boosts.
Sandals Executive Chairman, meanwhile, Adam Stewart, is bullish on the prospects, saying the vision for Sandals Grand Antigua includes an exquisite transformation. We'll keep across the story and update you as more information becomes available, but exclusive news reaching ABS News about the situation with a major overhaul of Sandals Grand Antigua.
As you would have seen, that story was about Sandals doing some major upgrade work on its facility in Antigua. But that's our broadcast for this edition of the program. We thank you for watching, and we thank our guests. We tell you could stay tuned here. Much more to come in the next half hour, for instance, the latest edition of Talking Point, which and small other things as we go across today. But for now, thanks for watching. We want to thank our guests. I'm Andy Johnson. We see you tomorrow.
WESN.
Living in victory every day.
Inspire.